Welcome to the Men's Conference podcast. Of course, I'm your host, DC, and I'm joined by my awesome twin brother, that is Laz. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I want you guys to actually invite people and subscribe to our YouTube channel, that is the Men's Conference podcast, and follow us on Facebook, that is the Men's Conference podcast, and on TikTok and Instagram, it's as easy as that, and get to see our daily activities, our daily teachings, guys. So this is a platform where we get to help young men become better men of the future, and as well women as well. So women definitely would benefit from this platform. So of course, I'm DC, and I'm joined by my awesome twin brother, that is Laz, and we are joined by the two awesome gentlemen, Samuel and Gray. Guys, how you doing?
Awesome.
Great things.
Awesome.
How's everything?
Everything is perfect. Life is moving well. So we are good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. Gray?
Everything is okay.
Yeah.
I think if it's any challenges,
Yeah.
if it's very challenges everybody is going through. So,
Yeah.
hey, everything is okay.
Amazing.
Okay.
You know, I definitely would love to hear you guys' opinions. And of course, I would say this is like one of the first times we've had like an all-male sit-down, you know, because a lot of young men out there are probably wondering, okay, what are these gentlemen going to say in order for us to become better men, self-improve, and, you know, what are they going to do in order for us to, you know, become better men when it comes to relationships, I should say.
Because a
You
lot
know.
of men have been choosing the wrong kind of women.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because it's a different generation now, or I don't know, maybe because they've been looking like for the wrong qualities, like making a mistake by thinking, oh, because we both have something in common, I maybe might think that, okay, she's the one. So I don't know if you guys have any opinion on how men should really spot like a good woman they can actually like date or marry, or, you know, things like that.
Yeah, because, you know, a lot of my men have actually been sending us inboxes to say, no, I've dated this woman, she cheated on me 5 times, what is it that I should do? You know, I tried to work things out, but apparently it seems that nothing is going my way. Now, because of the lack of knowledge that a lot of young men are facing, they have no idea what a good woman is, and that is something that we want to hear from you guys, because you're two gentlemen who are married, and we want to know what are those good qualities that you spotted in that lady in order for you to settle down with her and say, she's the one now.
I won't find the
Yeah.
one, so you guys might.
Yeah,
I need
might
your
help us.
I need your help.
Yeah, you might help us, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe we can go with Samuel.
Okay. I think the question is very tricky. Looks very simple, but extremely tricky.
Yeah.
One of the biggest reasons why it's tricky is because finding a good woman is very, very subjective. Every person has a different perspective of what a good woman is, and it depends on how you were raised, ideologies that you possess, your level of education, and all those factors come into play. So for me personally, what is a good woman is somebody who has kindness, emotional intelligence, we'll be breaking them down slowly, and also somebody who is compatible with me, somebody who share my vision, and somebody who is understanding, and also able to, to see the bigger picture that I have. So it's one of those things. As I said, it's very, very subjective, and there's no black and white. It's gray everywhere. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. I think
Mr.
just
Gray?
to build on to what Sam has said,
Yeah.
I think, like we discussed off camera,
Yeah.
you know, issues to do with relationships are very commercialized. So now people have very interesting standards, and they feel once the person meets these and that standards, then the person becomes fit to be the right person for me. But I think from the onset, it's only right that people understand that there is no such thing as the right person for anybody. Okay, because the concept of right simply brings in the presumption that there's someone who simply contains all the qualities that you and I perhaps want to be able to have in a particular person. And oftentimes those qualities do not take into consideration the negatives. So such a thing does not exist. And again, like you mentioned, I think as we progress, we'll be able to unpack all these things. But it's indeed subjective. What is good for you may not be good for me.
Yeah.
But personally, qualities I went for, I think at the very apex was someone who's God-fearing, someone who's a believer, because then that's a person who has a relationship with a higher being, God, and they understand things from the mandate that God has prescribed himself regarding relationships.
Yeah.
So once you understand things from that angle, then it's going to be easier for you to then be able to follow through with everything else. So that's the first thing, and I think the most primary thing I was looking for.
Yeah, but the thing is, what I've noticed about men and women is that men don't really have a specific ideal of woman they want.
Yeah.
All they are attracted to is physically, right? Like,
Yeah.
if she's looking beautiful, that's
Yeah.
more like an opportunity for them to try to make their move. That's it.
Yeah.
As far as they're concerned, they want someone beautiful, right?
Yeah.
But with women, I feel like their standards are too, how can I say this?
Unrealistic.
Unrealistic. They're looking for the perfect man.
Yeah.
Because I even remember on a podcast I was watching where they had what they call it, the delusional calculator, right?
Yeah.
So they'll get maybe like 5 women and tell me what you want in a man. Okay, that's what you want. Let's try to calculate and find out if that man exists. Oh, guess what? That's 99.9% incorrect. That kind of man that you're looking for doesn't really exist.
So something that Grace said. You said there's no such thing as a good woman or as the right woman. So how is it that young men should now definitely spot the kind of woman they should settle down with? Like you said, besides the whole God-fearing, what other qualities now? Because us men are based, we like it when women definitely respect us. So are you telling me that women should not possess such qualities, or they should just, the guy should just go ahead and just pick any woman as long as she's beautiful, as long as she's able to give birth, where we should just pick them? Because these days now it seems that women have evolved. And when I say this, it's a 50-50 thing. It could be bad, it could be good, And apparently it seems that most men are actually picking the other side, the bad side, and they tend to regret that after they settle down with this person. Like, I remember a story that my friend was telling me, right? He said his boss actually married a slave queen, right? He did everything for her. He bought her a car, he provided for her, he would buy anything, he would take her anywhere. But the fact is that she would sleep out. She would disrespect him. She would nag all the time. She didn't care about this man's well-being. She went to an extent of going to his office and shouting at him, all because that man bought her a Vitz, because her friends had BMWs. So are you saying that we should sit back and accept the realities of what women are doing wrong in a relationship? Is that what you're saying?
That's a very interesting question.
Yeah.
So here's something that we always talk about.
Yeah.
We say there are facts, there are opinions,
Yeah.
there are facts, and then there are truths. Right? Opinions, everybody has them,
Yeah.
and they basically stem from different things, different compulsions. And then there's truth. Okay. And we respect opinions, by the way. And then there are facts. Facts are basically measurable information, scientifically measurable information. But what facts try to do is that they try to sort of explain or to some degree masquerade as truth. Right? And then there's the truth. Now, what is the truth? The truth, we say, is something that you have experienced. Okay. So, for instance, if you've experienced something, that becomes truth.
Yeah.
Right? You can't teach people something that you've not yourself gone through. So the only thing that we know, and I believe even as my colleague and I will be sharing, is that which we've gone through. I can't tell you things I haven't gone through. So one thing I know for a fact, even from experience, is that yes, I think men go for looks, and there's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, they should go for looks, because we are visual beings. Okay, the reason why I approach a lady is because I've definitely seen something appealing about her.
Yeah.
And even when you go from, you go to the scriptures, for instance, the Garden of Eden, look at how the exclamation that Adam gave. He says, now this is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. You could tell that he was simply expressing some kind of admiration that's coming from the physical aspect of what God had given him.
Didn't he speak? He saw her.
Yeah, he saw her.
Yeah.
She wasn't taking care of children or animals or puppies or
Exactly.
whatever.
Yeah.
She wasn't respecting him. She wasn't doing anything.
So beauty is more like an opportunity for a guy to kind of assess if this is the kind of woman he wants to deal with and all that, right?
That's an opinion.
Beauty is that factor that draws you in.
Yeah.
It's of course there's a scientific function to it. Perhaps I'll explain it at some point. But it's that factor that draws you in. For you to be able to get anything, if, even a phone, for instance, it's because you saw it, and you are probably attracted to how it looks from the very onset. So it's important.
Yeah.
But you see, like I mentioned when I was talking about God fearing, there has to be a baseline to everything. There has to be a foundation. Why is it that the whole God fearing aspect needs to be a foundation? Is because all of us human beings are very contemptuous. We are very flawed. We tend to we have this penchant to aggravate others. You get my point? So now, for us to be able to operate within a frame that is more incooperative, we need to be submissive. We have to be in a certain position that gives us that opportunity to sort of be considerate of others. And that one factor, there could be many, but that one factor is us being observant and submissive to a higher authority. Why? Because a higher authority is simply a being that we have not seen, because when you see something, you tend to get too familiar with what we see. Okay, so it's someone we've not seen, but someone we've probably experienced in sort of supernatural ways or ways that we cannot explain, that are not natural. So because of that, we tend to be submissive to that kind of factor, and because of that, it's easier for us to be more submissive to other individuals, because that being or God in my position then gives us a set of instructions in terms of how we ought to do things, how we ought to relate with other individuals, and so on and so forth. So if that now becomes my foundation, it means that even how I operate is not based on how I feel. It's not based on how perhaps I want to be treated and all that. It's because of the foundation that this being has already provided, and I have to be able to live by that. Because if I, as a human being, sets your foundation, at some point you are going to say, after all, I can't do that. I've got my own ways. Because we're all wise. But then something has to take preeminence at the end.
Wait, so what's your opinion on why, since we're on the conversation on how to spot a good woman, right? So why do you think so many relationships are not ending up in the way of a man nowadays? So I don't know what's your opinion on that, because so many men complain, sending messages, I know I've been good to my woman, I've been, the right kind of guy, but it's like she's disrespectful and all that stuff. So I don't know.
Like you've got the right frame as a man. You're providing, you're protecting, you're doing everything that women want you to do, right? But at the end of the day, this woman has backstabbed you and goes to sleep with another man out there. So are you telling me is that we don't need to look out for certain signs in order for us to know that this is the type of woman that we need to settle down with? Because we need to know also the kind of signs that we need to look out for. Other signs, because you've mentioned that the number one thing is that she has to be a God-fearing woman. Yes, Zambia is a Christian nation. Everyone is God-fearing. But what are the also other qualities that should also stem in order for a man to sit down and say, I need to marry this woman? Because you could date this girl for 7, 8, 6 years, and you find that all this time she hasn't been the type of woman. But you can date a girl for 5 months, and you know instantly that this girl is a good woman because she's she ticked the boxes. And what are those boxes that we should look out for as gents?
Okay, maybe I'll jump in first before Mr. Mase comes.
Yeah.
I think what Mr. Massey has explained, my voice sounds a little bit weird.
No, it sounds perfect.
So what Mr. Massey has explained is the foundation, the baseline.
Yeah.
When you are in a relationship with someone, say for example, you're in a relationship with whosoever you're in a relationship with, what makes you to relate with that person is because you have shared values, shared morals, shared concepts, ideas, and whatnot. You can be in the same family, raised by the same parents, but you may not connect, and you may not be in the same space together because you differ on values and systems. So these are priors. So when he says he wants a Christian type of woman, that is a prior, right? So it means, by virtue of saying that, a God-fearing woman, it means that she's somebody who is following the principles and the guidelines that are in the Bible. She's somebody who is respectful. She's somebody who is behaving as a virtuous woman as the Bible prescribes. So you're not going to look for all those factors. Those factors come pre-installed in that phone. You're not going to look for Google in an Android phone, right? You know that it comes pre-installed.
Yeah.
But you cannot also look for Google in an iPhone. You have to install that one because it doesn't come pre-installed, right? So these are the priors. So if you are a man who is God-fearing, your prior is now finding a God-fearing woman. If you're a man who is very traditional, right? You're very traditional village type, so you look for a woman who is from the village, because now she'll meet up with most of your priors in terms of respect, in terms of whatever traditional training that she's going to have. Those are your priors that are already pre-existing in that person, right? So if you're looking for a career woman, those are the priors as well. So for your story, the person that went for a slay queen, so those are the priors as well. So if you go for a slay queen, those are the expectations. So the man, there's something that he wanted from her, right? And you got benefit from her, and you also got the utility that you wanted from that relationship, and he was benefiting from it. Obviously, the ending of the relationship does not mean that the man did not benefit from that relationship. He got what he wanted. He just didn't get exactly what he thought he would get, right? So he went for her because he knew what he was looking for, and he got what he wanted. If he wanted the slay queen lifestyle, he wanted to sponsor her, he wanted to do whatever it is he wanted to do with her, he went for that because he knew the prior that he had. Maybe he could have been broken, or he could have, whatever could have been the case, but he went for that person based on the priors that he had as an individual. So that's why Mr. Mwasa is saying, when you look at the base, it will now explain to you why you pick whatever woman that you want to pick. The best. So if you're a Christian person, you pick a God-fearing woman, you don't need to look for those priors. They're basic, as we said. So those are like just emotional intelligence, empathy, connecting, and all those kind of things. But those things are extremely subjective for every individual. What I would see as respect is not what you see as respect. Because those when we go into those ranges now, we're talking about different things that have different meanings, different connotations, different interpretations based on each individual. If you are Lozi, there's a way you expect a woman to behave that is called respectful. If you are from Chipata, there's a way a woman is supposed to behave that is respectful. If you're from Uni, there's the table manners that are expected from a woman that is supposed to be called respectful. For example, you're maybe from you're very educated, maybe you're from the UK or whatever level of education that you have, and you have a woman sitting on the table and she does not have those table manners that are expected, and you have visitors in the house. That would be very, very disrespectful, right? But typically, that's her eating with her hands or doing whatever she can do as a typical human behavior according to the prior and society she has grown up in. But when you are given that opportunity now where she's sitting with people of higher texture, maybe the president or the royal family or whatever, and she's eating like that without using the knife and fork, you might assume that she has no table manners and her behavior is disrespectful, right? So as I said, these are contextual. Respect is contextual, all these things are contextual, but when you create the base, then now we can have a conversation.
And
I like that.
To add on to that, now that he's made that case, the boxes now I believe people need to be ticking and not with the other person, they're with self. Yes.
Sense.
The boxes that you need to be ticking are not with the other person, they're with self. Why? Because you see, when you understand yourself and you resolve certain issues that you may have, okay, that's of course coming from a point of understanding. then you are going to be able, even your view and perspective of things is going to change. It will get you to a point where you will now be able to see the very things that you've resolved within yourself in others, whether they are resolved or not. And it will be easier for you to be able to make an informed decision. Now, what do I mean you need to resolve certain things within yourself? Number one, you have to know whether you have daddy issues or mommy issues. Okay, and sadly, a lot of men don't know that they have mommy issues, especially those of us that were raised by single mothers. We have mommy issues. How do you know that you have mommy issues? You're overly apologetic. You are the one that I'd rather everyone else steps on me. I'll figure out how I'm going to heal myself. You know, you have, there's so many. But you have so many of those things. You have mommy issues. Now, if you have mommy issues, even your whole perspective of the female and what you expect is going to be mummified, in the sense that you are looking for sort of a replica of your mother. Okay. You need to know that you have mommy issues. If you have daddy issues, you need to know that you have daddy issues. You need to know exactly how your sexual appetite is like. You need to know what offends you. You need to know, you need to know a lot of things about yourself. So now the mistake, and it comes back to now what we're discussing. The mistake when people are trying to look for a partner is they are looking outward, not inward. You have to look within yourself and first be able to resolve the issues within yourself, so that you can yourself become a suitable companion for the kind of person that you are looking for. Okay, and then you need to get to a point where you have certain understandings. I talk about this a lot. One of the understandings that you need to have is the understanding that, number one, all of us are human beings. What does it mean that we're human beings? It means that we are flawed. What does it mean that we are flawed? It means that we have the ability, and it's a norm with us, that we are going to simply be, contemptuous to other people. We are going to offend other people, or other people are going to offend us. Now, what does that do? When you have that understanding, you will not take to heart every kind of contempt that comes your way. Or, for instance, you're in a relationship, you mentioned cheating. Okay, and this might be controversial. If a person, your partner, cheats, you get very offended and you'll be looking for all these other faults. But you forget that they are a human being. What were you expecting? This person is a human being. But we have this weird standard where we expect human beings to be godlike, to be angels. So you don't expect them to cheat. You don't expect them to steal. And so when something that you did not expect happens, you think so much that you even develop depression or whatever it is at the end of the day.
But don't you think that that kind of frustration comes with the amount of investment they put in a person?
It comes from a point of lack of having understood the nature of people. Okay.
And possibly maybe just yourself as
yourself.
Because when you are investing, right, the ultimate question is where are you getting that investment from? So if you're getting it from your seed, if you're not getting it from your abundance, it becomes a problem now, because that's now where your identity is. So now, instead of you building yourself, building your morals, building your character, building your finances, you are investing it into someone else, right? So when now your investment, your portfolio is down, you are broken. But if you're investing in yourself, and from the abundance now you're able to build, it will be easier, because you, as a man, you're supposed to be a sustainer. So how can you sustain when you are not sustainable yourself? So now when you have that mental fortitude in yourself, where you know who you are and you know what defines you, because a lot of men are defined by women, and I think that was the last conversation we had for one of the gents hangout. The problem is that men are defined by women. A man is supposed to open the door, right? A man is supposed to be respectful. A man is supposed to be ABCD. A man. So there's all this a man that a woman is expecting you to behave. So now you have been defined by a woman. What are your desires? What are your values? What are your goals? You don't know. All you know is that I open the door, I take flowers, I do these things, so I'm a man. That is a definition that the woman has given you, right? Those are opinions of what men are doing, and that's how you define yourself. So now, when you are living according to that definition that the woman has given you, and then she cheats on you,
you get broken.
You get broken, because now your definition was in that woman, and now you have lost it. So you don't know who you are. So you're fragile. No wonder most men, they commit suicide. They die by suicidation, self-harm. Sometimes they go into gambling, addiction, or whatever it is, because they are in that space where they've lost who they are. Because who they are was invested in a person. So no wonder Marcia has mentioned that when you now go back to understand your archetype, what are you? And then you heal, and then you become self-sustaining. Because you cannot create independence if you are dependent yourself. So you have to be independent first. Then after you are independent, emotionally, psychologically, financially, when you are independent, then now you can become dependent with someone, because now your independence and our independence now are co-joining, right? So when you are dependent on somebody's validation for your emotions, then that relationship will be very difficult. When she's not in a good mood, it will define how your life is going to be. When she's not happy with your behavior, it will define how your life is going to be. So even when you're choosing your partner, go back to the drawing board. Who are you as an individual? Define yourself as a man, define your values, define your personality, define yourself. When you do that, it will be easier now. And then this is where it gets interesting. When you are healed and your mind is set, you will find the right partner. Because what you are finding and the people you have been dating consistently are the broken self of you. What is lacking in you? You have been dating your mother. You have been dating this particular broken person. No wonder you discover that almost all your exes, they look the same in terms of character. They can have different, maybe nyash, different what. They can be all different skin tone, different whatever. But when you look at them at a microscopic level, you realize that all the characters are the same character, same dependencies, same behavior, and even the way they left you is the same. Because you have been developing the same relationship over and over and over and over again with the same person. But when you heal, then you now begin to develop relationships based on what you need, and you'll be attracting the people that match your energy, they match your perspective, and if they're not matching, you won't even meet at any point. You won't meet. Definitely you won't meet. So if you won't meet with the person that you don't want when your mind is set, when you have healed. But when you're not healed, you'll be always meeting them.
So there are two things that I've got from you, right? One, you said something about energy, right? You meet the same person with the energy once you've healed. So you're saying that the universe will gift you the right woman once your mind is set. Once you tell yourself, okay, I'm done being negative towards women. I'm done being negative towards myself. I just want to focus on myself, build myself, and become the best version of myself. And definitely that same good woman that you've been looking for will come to you. And then second, you're talking about an abundance mindset. So if you tell yourself to say, okay, every human being is flawed. They're not perfect. Let's accept that, right? So if she cheats, I'm comfortable with it. I can walk away or I can stay. So is that what you're saying?
Definitely. Now, look, and I know it's not something that sits well with many. But you see, if you say you have no control over how other people respond to things, how they react, how they behave, and you have no control over their nature. The only thing you have control over is yourself. Now, it means that you then have to make personal resolves. Okay, how am I going to respond to something when it happens? Because it will happen. Okay, it's the only guarantee here is the negatives happening. You know what I mean? So now you have to think about, if I get into a relationship and this person cheats, how am I going to respond to that? Now, my personal resolve, me as Grey, I've resolved that I'm in a marriage. I resolved this, by the way, before I got into it. If my wife cheats, I'll forgive her and continue with the marriage. My resolve before marriage was that if I intend on leaving her, if she does that, I better not get into marriage, because I don't know if she would do it or not. I have no control over that parameter and that behavior. I have absolutely no control. The only thing I have control over is my response. And your response has to be made before you get into something.
So premeditated stuff. So you need to meditate on the future of the relationship with the person that you're getting into it.
Yes.
So you need to expect anything from them. So basically, what you're saying is that if you're getting into a relationship, there's not marriage, but in a relationship with this lady, so you need to expect that this person will cheat. And am I comfortable staying with them, or should I just walk away?
It's not only expecting that they will cheat. Expect that they will do everything that you don't like. Then you should resolve, how am I going to respond to this kind of behavior? If your response is I'm going to leave, then maybe you shouldn't get into a relationship.
No,
because
I mean,
that will happen.
Because
That's the only guarantee.
Yes, true.
That's
I know.
a guarantee.
No, but still, us guys are very territorial, right? With
Yeah.
our stuff. Doesn't matter whether it can be a woman, can be a car, it can be phone, it can be everything. But then again, there's no way, because all of us as human beings, especially men, we love women. So there is no way we can sit and say, look, if I get into a relationship with a woman and if she cheats, then I'll still continue staying with her. No, because for me personally, if I was to get into a relationship, or I'm in a relationship and then my woman cheats on me, basically I cannot stay, because look, if a woman cheats on you, there's a way you will treat her as a man. You will be rude to her, and this is something that you will never realize as a man. You will treat her bad. You might not cheat on her, but you will treat her bad. You will not respect her. You will not do all the nice things that you used to do before she cheated. And then she wonder, this guy has changed. I apologize so many times. I'm not going to cheat on him again. I've explained all this, but he's still treating me bad. He doesn't know it, because in his head he's like, my trust for you has gone down. I still love you, but not the way I did. Now, this is a love-hate thing that I have with you. This is why you find that many men, it's impossible for them to leave that relationship they have built emotionally with that woman, especially if it's spanned for like 5 years, 3 years. Because in his head he's thinking, this woman has cheated on me, or this girl has cheated on me for 3 years, but why aren't I leaving? Then she'll explain to say, look, I've apologized so many times. Why are you treating me like this? In his head he's like, I don't know. Maybe it's because my trust for you has gone down. Now men are not honest to say, this is why we say that. And this issue of women also cheating and a man treating the woman bad results now into murder, right? So there was a story a couple of years back where these two nurses were dating, and this nurse had cheated on the guy, and she told him to say, me, I'm in love with the guy, I already slept with him, wow, me, I want to leave you. The guy's response, because he put all his eggs in one basket and decided, oh, okay, can we have sex for the last time? And then she says, no, but it has ended, I don't love you anymore. No, let's have sex for the last time. Now, he premeditated what he was going to do, because he could not control his emotions. Let's admit it. There are some men that can't control their emotions. They will go out there, pretend that they're okay, and then when they just have that one bad day, they'll take it up, they'll take that violence to their wife or to their girlfriend, and they'll kill her.
But I think that gives back to what he said
Yeah,
before, he's already supposed to have that
that
mindset where he's like, okay, there's a possibility she might cheat.
So that's the thing. Not many men can have that.
No, but then that's why we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
So that most men can have that.
Yeah.
So if you as a man, your wife cheats on you or your woman cheats on you, you can walk away.
Yeah.
You choose to walk away, but you make a premeditated decision to say, I'll walk away, right? Because when you leave it in suspense, that's where the problem is. So if you're saying, if she cheats on me, I'll stay and build this, that is your decision. But you have to make that decision. And as you have explained, that man was broken, and it's so sad that he was broken, and that's a fact for most of the men. Because right now, as we are speaking, maybe I've lost about 15 to 20 men just in this conversation that we have lost to suicidation because of lack of emotional regulation, a lack of identity, and all that. So it's very painful when you think about these matters because they are real. We are experiencing them, and the sad thing is that most men are not trained in how to handle their emotions, how to handle their thoughts, how to regulate whatever pain that they feel. Most of us men, there's a word that I often use when we're having these conversations. Men are emotional retards. They don't know how to handle emotions. They don't know. They haven't been trained. Women know how to talk about matters. They can have conversations about issues that they are affecting them. For us, because it's a given, as a man you're supposed to be territorial. That's what they're telling you, right? So when you talk about what you feel, or you encounter, or even just face what you feel, you are being seen as weak, even on your own. In your own bed, you don't want to face yourself. You don't want to face the reality that you're broken, that yes, you're messed up, yes, you don't know how to regulate your emotions. So in turn, you want to do something more physical, more manly, potentially by killing yourself, beating that person up, or going for a drinking spree, or just becoming an addict, whatever it is you decide, but you don't want to deal with the emotions. So the truth is that we need to be having more of these trainings where we are now training men to manage their emotions, to regulate their thoughts, so they can no longer become suicidal, but they can know that these things are a given. It's a fact of life. Somebody will potentially cheat on you. Somebody will potentially abandon you. Somebody will potentially leave you. It's a given. It's a fact of life. The people that we married are not the same people that we were dating. Even you right now, the person that was here when we started this conversation, and the person that is here now is a different person, because we have shared different thoughts, different ideas. And from these ideas we have grown, or we have become more defensive, whatever we have become, but there's a change, right? So if change is happening every day, in every aspect of our lives, every second, then you should expect that there's a potential change in the person that you are married to. They can walk away from that marriage, they can cheat on you, they can do whatever. It's inevitable. Change is inevitable. That's a fact of life. So now the question is, when that change happens, when the cheating happens, when the abandonment happens, when your partner falls out of love, what is your decision?
Move. Come out of that relationship.
So that is your decision.
Yeah, that's
Wait,
your decision.
That's your
Yeah.
decision.
So you think
And
the
it's
problem
understood.
is, so that you think the problem is with men is that they also have an issue of trying to find the perfect woman, one who doesn't cheat, one who doesn't do certain things. It's like they already have an idea of who she is before they decide to date her.
Yeah. Now you see that even your statement that men are territorial, that's true in a world where you have control over how others behave. So you are territorial and you don't want your woman to cheat. You want your woman to be all these things. But the question is, do you have the power to control them to do exactly what you want? You don't. Okay? The only power that you have is to change yourself and to simply make your own personal resolves. So now, the guarantee in life is the West. It's always the West.
Yeah.
Okay? Death is a guarantee.
Yeah.
All these negative things, I guarantee.
Yeah.
What's not guarantee are the good things. Why? Because they don't come naturally to human beings. Okay, these are things that are influenced by something, and that's why I talked about the baseline, right? Being that you have to be subscribed to a higher authority, but you are not guaranteed that the person you're going to be in a relationship with will not cheat. So, having that foreknowledge that this person I'm about to get into a relationship with is a flawed human being, or is flawed, and they're flawed because they're human beings, and it's because our nature as human beings that we are flawed, we tend to be contemptuous. How then am I, as Grey, going to respond to the flaws when they are brought out in the relationship? So then I start to think, okay, if the person cheats on me, I have to resolve to stay. Well, I can resolve to leave, but what guarantee is there that even the next person I'll be with will not cheat? Otherwise, what you are risking is being in relationships, too many of them, where the same thing continually repeats. Okay, which is very possible, by the way, especially now, if it's a Gen Z, my guy.
They're everywhere.
Exactly my point, you see? So that resolve has to be made by. So now, that's why I said in the very beginning that when you make these resolves, what you're looking for is someone who's God-fearing. Why? Because that's the only person who's got a higher possibility, a higher chance of not doing the things that you dislike. Why? Because they subscribe to a higher authority. So they understand some basic things, like you need self-control. You need, you will have all these negative vibes about you that are trying to compel you to fall into some vice. But you have to always fight your very fleshly desires, your very nature, so that you can create an environment that is conducive for other people. I'll give you an example. Okay, I was saying this in the morning. Like people, for you to have peace, to be a peaceful person, you either have to be a coward, or you have to be a coward. Zambians, do you know why we have peace?
Yeah.
It's because we're cowards.
True.
right?
Yeah, no war.
Because if you go to Kenya right now, there's revolt.
Yeah.
Most countries have revolt. Why aren't we going through revolt?
Yeah.
We are probably going through some very terrible conditions,
Yeah.
but we're not revolting. Why? Because we're cowards.
Cowards.
And that cowardice has given us the peace.
Yeah.
In Kenya, they're not cowards. They're revolting. There's no peace. There's unrest. You get it? So you choose what you want. Okay, so if you have to make those resolves yourself. And that's the only way that you're going to be at peace with everything around you. Even the issue that has to do with death. Do you know why oftentimes people fall into depression? It's because they never resolved that in an event that this person who's a benefactor, my father, my mother, passes away, how am I going to respond to this? Why? Because motivational speakers, and I've got nothing against them, but I don't believe in them.
Yeah.
They've made us to believe that you only have to focus on the positive things.
Yeah.
But guess what? The negative ain't going nowhere.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to be there. So what you have to do is you have to, in your planning of life, you have to account for them.
Yeah.
That's why now companies have got a department called risk.
Yeah.
The job for people who are in risk is to simply
Analyze
prepare
the
themselves for the
situation.
negative. So for them, they're just paranoid individuals who are consistently thinking about what negative can come, and so that they can prepare a proper response to that kind of risk. And as human beings, even regarding our own lives, we have to take that same approach where if this is going to happen, how am I going to respond to it? Because it's coming, you like it or not, regardless of how positive you think, or this thing that we do now, the new age thing, I want to attract positive vibes alone. Even then, the negative is coming.
Yeah.
So are you saying is that women who have husbands who are in polygamous, relationships with other women, does that mean that they should also accept it as well? Because a lot of women out there on Facebook or social media like to complain. No, men like to cheat. Men are trash. Men are what, all that stuff. Because they want to find like the perfect Prince Charming that the West has actually preached to them.
So, I think it would be unfair to subscribe to give those women thoughts to subscribe to. If a man is polygamous and they're not happy with that polygamous marriage, and they have resolved to leave that relationship, they can leave it. So it's contextual. It is based on individual preferences, and that's the reason why we're saying we should not talk about this matter on a broader perspective. Let's trickle it down to individuals, and when we have individuals in the picture, then those individuals now will make decisions based on their priors, based on their foundations, and based on their choices. I think it's much of the work of Stephen Covey that always explains that
You have no control over what happens.
you measure twice,
Yeah.
but you cut once,
Yeah.
right? So you think first before you act. So you have to think about everything, even the way you do parenting. You have to know the direction which how you're going to parent your child. Even the way you're going to direct your relationship, you have to think about all those things. You have to really put thought into it, and when you put thought into it, it will be easier. The problem that we're not being trained to think. Most of us men we're not trained to think. Our fathers were thinkers, right? They would have a space where they would think.
True.
They would sit down, share ideas, share thoughts, share values, share principles, and they would hold each other accountable based on that. And I think a society that we're living in where no one is holding anyone accountable is a very bad society, because a society where men are holding each other accountable is a very good society, because meaning that there will be no thieves, there will be no abuse, because when men are united in thoughts, in ideas, in ideologies, it will be easier for them to make decisions that are going to benefit society. But we're at this stage where a lot of things are going array. So what am I trying to bring across here? We are at a stage where we need to take men back to a place where I say, can you stop acting in your emotions? Can you start thinking?
Yes.
What are you thinking now? Can you think? You know what I mean? Like, can you put your thoughts together? Can you think about the consequences of your action? Can you think about your future? Can you think about the direction? Can you think about how you're going to handle this relationship? Can you decide from your own accord, with your own decision-making power, to say, how am I going to direct this aspect of my life? When you are choosing a partner, you think, you don't use your emotions, or you don't use your eyes. Obviously, your eyes are a biggest cue to what you're going to see, and what you feel will direct you in terms of how you're going to feel with that particular person. But feelings fade, and beauty fades as well. But your thoughts will not fade. So now you're thinking, I need a partner who is going to be aligned with my vision, aligned with my goals, aligned with the way with my parents, and I make a choice because I want a person who is going to take care of my children, somebody who is going to educate, who is going to be there for my children, educate them in these aspects and whatnot. When you think in those lines, now even when you're choosing a partner, you'll be using your thoughts more than your emotions. Because when you're using your emotions, when things go bad, your emotions have no control. They're a wreck, right? Your thoughts, which is supposed to control you, is not in touch with your emotions, right? So when your decisions are thought-based, even when things go south, you'll always be thinking like, oh, I made these decisions, I have to live with the consequence. But when you're using your emotions, because your emotions will make you feel like you didn't make the decision, right? Oh, I just felt the vibe. All of a sudden, we just started, she was just a good nature. I just, when we were just in the same room, I just felt my body move and all those kind of things. And then and that's how we started.
Yeah.
Right. Funny enough, let me share this. When I wanted to date my wife, right, the woman that we had 6 months of having deeper conversations. Like serious, deeper conversations. And one of the key issues that we talked about was finance. And we planned. By the time I wasn't making enough money, we talked about it. This is how much you're making. This is how much I'm making. How are we going to bridge the gap? We talked about family backgrounds. She come from I come from a different family background. She comes from a different family background. Says your family's expectation is this. My family's expectation is this. So how are we going to handle this? She even told me explicitly that if we go to my family and they reject you, I'm equally rejecting you.
Yeah.
So we're not going to stick around. If they say, Stimufuna Mamuna, that's it. We're done. We're not going to have this conversation again. So those were hard conversations, very difficult and hard conversations, but we resolved. We talked and we resolved. So in a nutshell, you need a partner that you can have conversations with, somebody with good emotional intelligence, somebody who's a thinker, who is caring, and also compatible with you. Those are just the basics. So no wonder we're saying it's hard to choose a partner. But when you have the basics in place and your emotions are in the right place and your mind is active in making that decision, you potentially won't go wrong.
So basically, guys, what he's saying is that work on yourself, self-improvement right there. So be the best version of yourself so that you can attract the best woman out there. Because the fact is that a lot of men are using their emotions. Oh no, she's pretty, she's got a big nyash, she's slender, oh she's thick, so I'm definitely going to marry her because she looks very beautiful. We're going to give birth to beautiful babies. No, work on yourself first. When you work on yourself, the right woman will chase after you. So it's funny how the universe works right there. So we definitely have a few minutes left. So Laz, you've got a message that you have to read out.
So the message goes by saying...
Maybe you can be a bit louder.
The message goes by saying, hi guys, I have a fiance who have been dating for 3 years now. Suddenly from last year December, this lady has been cheating and has been disrespectful towards me, but she usually apologizes and asks for forgiveness. But I found someone whom I want to start a new life with. She discovered that I have a lady and keeps begging for forgiveness for all the bad things she's done. So my question is, should I trust this lady again? Should I wait a bit to see if she's really changed? Because as far as I'm concerned, I have got nothing to do with her because I've shifted my focus to someone else. So should I give her another chance?
Great.
What's funny is that I don't think he's made a decision.
Yeah.
Because you can even tell from the content of the message where he mentions one thing and so he's made a decision, but he still comes back to say, should I go ahead?
Yeah.
So that's a double-minded person.
Yeah.
And again, he needs to work on himself. He needs to work on himself because he needs to make a decision based on thinking, not how he feels.
Yeah.
Right now, he's very much, his reasoning is governed by his emotions.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's probably thinking about this person makes me feel this way, but also this one makes me feel this way.
Yeah.
Okay, but what he needs to do right now is to think, to use, reasoning, not his emotions. But I think primarily for me is that he's got stuff. He needs to work on himself.
Yeah.
He needs to work on himself because he already doesn't know what he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a very bad place to be in as a man.
Yeah.
Because also, supposing he picks one of them, before you know it, I think she's going to vibe, but this guy doesn't know what he wants.
Yeah, true.
Because you probably fail to make decisions even in the marriage.
Yeah.
And she'll start to undermine him, and then he'll start to think, no, women are A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
But also, there's some background work that is missed that he's supposed to perform on himself. So I think I was going to say, no, pick this one or that one, but I'm going to say he needs to work on himself. He's going to know who he needs to pick once he does that.
Yeah, true. Samuel?
For me, I think he's in a very difficult space, and sometimes when you're operating using emotions, you don't see the bigger picture, and it's painful because you, who is experiencing it, you're thinking you're making the right decisions and all those kind of things. My advice for him would be to let go of both, so that he can get to a place where he finds himself. Because what he has, that other girl, she's just basically a rebound.
Yeah.
Because he broke up with that girl, and now he's looking for the emotional comfort in the next person. He just basically should just get rid of both of them, and then heal on his own. Go for a retreat, take himself away from relationships, focus on his goals, in his vision, his direction. If those girls love him, they'll still find him. Maybe gives himself a 6 months break from the entire relationships and everything, just for him to find himself. Once he finds his ground, he can go back or he can find someone new. But there's a 90% chance that he will not go back to one of them when he finds himself.
Amazing. Amazing. For me, definitely, this is where I always stand. Once a woman cheats on you, believe you me, you need to bounce. But I like what Samuel said about rebound. That girl is just a rebound, and you definitely treat her even much worse, Because the fact is that a lot of men, we do not forget about the woman that betrayed us. And we're not only talking about cheating, but also talking about other aspects when it comes to trust. I can give you my money, 10 pin, and then all of a sudden you've blown it instead of saving it or just spending a bit of money, right? So the fact is that as a man, you need to know your values, where you stand, what is it that you are looking for in a woman. You're undecided. You need to make that decision right now, right there, to say, okay, I will stay or I'll leave. The fact is that you need to leave. That's my opinion, that you need to leave because this person has betrayed you. This person will do it again. It won't be the first, it won't be the last. She will continuously do it again, not until you leave and she learns from it and she'll find another guy and she'll say, for me, I don't want this guy to live like the last one. So let me not betray this other one. So as a man, you need to move on with life. Build yourself, tell yourself what is it that you want, improve your life, and life is definitely going to be good for you.
And I also like what Mr. Gray said as well, that you need to take a step back first and assess yourself to see if you had an issue. Because what's the probability that even if you got rid of her and dated the other one, what if she did the same thing?
Exactly. True. And like what you said that he's undecided as well. One thing is saying, oh no, I want to leave this woman. Next thing is saying, I don't know what to do. There's this other lady. So right now you're undecided. Your emotions are all over the place. So just sit back and analyze yourself. Be the best version of yourself, and believe you me, that right woman will definitely come your way. So before we actually close the show, any last words that you guys want to say? 30 seconds, 20 seconds. I would start with Samuel. Any last words?
Okay, so I think my last words would be, when we talk about relationships, as we said, it's not clear black and white. The basic guidelines I can give to every person is that always make sure that you pick the partner who has empathy or some bit of emotional intelligence. Also somebody who is aligning with your vision and your goals. Somebody who also is a support system for you, because a woman is supposed to be a support system, the right hand. So for me, I picked the best woman. So I'm the luckiest guy in the world. But for all of you out there who are looking for one, good luck finding the right one.
All right, Mr. Gray.
In Lusaka.
Yeah, for me, it's there's so much that men are going through now. It's not accidental; it's designed.
Yeah.
And it's designed to destabilize men. And once you see, men, we are the foundation. Once the foundation is destabilized, the whole structure is going to become weak.
Yeah.
Now, some people have realized and noticed this, and we come from an organization called Umuna, and we have these conversations all the time, and we're trying to help each other. We're not trying to help others because we are also in the same boat. We're trying to help each other become better men for society. Why? Because if we as men are better for society, society will be better. The reason why there's so much discombobulation in society is because the foundation has been messed up, which happens to be the man. So whoever is watching this, look for our page Umuna and be part of the conversation as a man so that you can also be helped.
Amazing. Laz.
Well, for me, my last words will be, and this comes from, I'm inspired based on the conversation here. So I would say to all the men out there, if you have issues that you haven't dealt with, it's better you take a step back, assess yourself, heal, and especially if you're a guy who hates women, that's something that you need to get rid of right now. Because if you really want to attract the woman of your dreams, you have to start somewhere. And the best place to start from is stop hating women. And stop being negative about them. So, yeah.
So there's a quote that I like, and I wrote it down. And it says, weak men focus on women. Women focus on strong men. Strong men focus on their mission. So focus on yourself until the focus is on you. So definitely that's a quote that I love very much. So it's been great. It's been amazing. Thank you, Samuel and Gray, for being in the conversation with us. It's been fun. It's been amazing. This is the Men's Conference Podcast. And definitely get to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. And definitely get to search for their page, Umuna. It's an organization that actually helps men as well. So do not be afraid to reach out to them. They actually have physical interactions. They will definitely update you on that. Just check for their page, Umuna. It's as easy as that. It's definitely a helpful organization, guys. So it's been fun. It's been great. The Men's Conference Podcast has been just absolutely amazing, man. So, Laz, see you next time, man.
You too, bro.
Or see you at home.
All right.